Welcome to Wedding Studio, the podcast from You Had Me at I Do for wedding officiants who want stronger ceremonies, steadier business, and couples who feel truly cared for. Each episode, hosts Mike and Jen share practical tips, real workflows, and lessons from actual weddings, the kind of advice working pros can use right away. Wedding Studio is produced by the team behind Studio by You Had Me at I Do, the software built to run a modern wedding business. The advice comes first. And yes, the team hopes what you hear here makes you curious enough to explore the platform. When a tip connects to a tool, they'll say so. Learn more at youhadmeatido.app. Better weddings, better business, less chaos. Now, here's Mike and Jen.
You know, usually when you picture a really high-stakes performance, you think of something happening on like a Broadway stage, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe a massive stadium concert.
Oh, yeah, totally. A place where, every single variable has been heavily rehearsed.
Right.
It's rigorously controlled and, locked down by this massive production team for months in advance.
Exactly. It's like the ultimate controlled environment. The lighting, the sound, the movement, everyone knows their mark, and the audience is literally just there to receive the experience.
Yeah, they just sit back and watch.
But I want you to picture an entirely different kind of room today. Just imagine you were standing at the front. You have a microphone in your hand.
Sounds intimidating already.
Oh, it is. Because 40 people are sitting in folding chairs, and they are staring at you in complete silence. And they're assuming that you know exactly what happens next.
No pressure. Right.
Right. The DJ is watching you from the corner. The photographer is like hovering right in your peripheral vision. The event planner is clutching a clipboard, looking dead at you.
Yep, waiting for you to lead.
And of course, the couple at the very center of it all is staring right into your eyes. The tension in that room is incredibly thick. Like you could hear a pin drop.
Holding a room like that, it carries a very specific, very intense psychological weight. The pressure to make the moment absolutely flawless is just palpable.
And in that exact moment, the temptation, it's this overwhelming, almost gravitational pull, is to start fixing every single thing around you.
Oh, you want to fix it all?
You really do. You see a crooked chair in the second row, and you want to straighten it. You feel your phone buzzing in your pocket with frantic texts from the caterer about, the timeline running late, and you want to answer them.
Right. Or you see like some family drama unfolding near the aisle.
Yes. And you want to step in and manage it. It is so incredibly easy to slide right out of your role as the person who's supposed to be leading the ceremony and accidentally become the day of wedding planner.
It's a trap. People fall into that trap constantly, usually out of a really genuine desire to be helpful, Yeah,
you just want things to go well.
Exactly. You see a problem, you want the day to be perfect for the couple, so you reach out to fix it. But reaching out is precisely what causes the entire system to collapse.
Which brings us to our mission for today. We are getting into some truly fascinating territory based on a guide from a group called You Had Me at I Do.
A really great resource.
It really is. And they've built this entire methodology from the trenches of over 400 weddings.
400. That is a lot of time at the altar.
A lot of weddings. And their entire philosophy for leading an unforgettable ceremony without, completely losing your mind comes down to maintaining fierce, almost ruthless boundaries.
Ruthless is the perfect word for it.
Right. So today we're doing a deep dive into the subtle art of cueing, knowing exactly what your job is, and honestly, more importantly, what is absolutely not your job.
Because we really only ever see the romantic ideal of a wedding. We see the beautiful photos, the seamless vows.
The highlight reel.
Exactly. We never see the backstage logistical chaos required to actually get those people down the aisle. And navigating that chaos requires a very, very rigid understanding of your own scope.
Yeah.
The guide actually draws a super hard line right immediately. There is a massive difference between being a ceremony lead and being a day of coordinator.
Let's define those lanes a bit, because it feels like the officiant is often treated as the default coordinator, right?
Yeah.
Just because they happen to be holding a microphone.
Oh, 100%. It's the microphone effect.
The microphone effect, I love that. But realistically, the planner or the venue coordinator, they are the ones running the macro machine. Their scope is massive.
Huge.
They're managing vendor arrivals. They're checking the timing of the catering, fixing broken decor, coordinating shuttle buses, dealing with parking issues. It's literally 100 invisible tasks happening all at the same time.
Yeah, the macro machine is such a good way to describe it. Planners are managing the entire ecosystem of the event. But as the officiant, right, as the ceremony lead, your lane is much narrower.
But deeper,
Yeah,
right?
substantially deeper. Your responsibility is the words spoken, the physical movement within that specific ceremony space, the timing of the ceremony itself, the guests standing and seating cues, and this is key, the emotional arc.
From the processional to the recessional.
Yes, you are anchoring the room through the vows. That's it.
It feels very much like an air traffic controller versus a flight attendant. Like, as the officiant, you are the air traffic controller for this very specific narrow window of time.
That's a great analogy.
Right. You control the runway, the aisle, and the altar. You dictate when people land and when they take off. But you absolutely do not serve the drinks, and you definitely do not, walk down the aisle to fix the overhead bins.
No, because if you leave the radar screen to go fix an overhead bin, the planes crash.
Exactly.
When you step out of your lane to go fix, say, a catering issue, 2 catastrophic things occur at a wedding.
Okay, lay them out for us.
First, you create structural chaos. Vendors operate on a single chain of command. If the venue coordinator told the caterer to hold the appetizers for 10 minutes, and you, the person with the microphone, walk over and tell them to start serving just because the ceremony ended early.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you have just given conflicting instructions.
You essentially turn into a rogue agent. Like, you become the villain of the vendor team without even realizing you're doing it.
You disrupt their entire workflow. But the second consequence is actually worse, especially for the couple.
Which is?
You lose the presence they hired you for. I mean, they asked you to stand up there to anchor the most important emotional moment of their lives, right?
Yeah, it's a huge honor.
But the human brain cannot fully hold emotional space for vows while simultaneously calculating shuttle bus arrival times. It just can't.
That makes so much sense. If your mind is on the logistics, your eyes just kind of glaze over.
Yeah.
You aren't really there with them.
Exactly. You're physically there, but mentally you're in the parking lot.
So the hard rule here is, unless literally no one else exists to do it, you do not touch catering service timing, you don't do floral repairs, shuttle issues, parking issues, or vendor payments. You just strictly control the runway.
Protect the runway at all costs.
But here's my question. If you are locked to the altar and you're refusing to macro manage the room, you still have to somehow figure out how to get the music to play on time, right? Or get the photographer to move around without looking like some dictator barking orders into the mic.
Yeah, and that brings us to the core of this whole methodology. You manage the runway through the art of the cue.
Queuing.
Queuing. And to be clear, queuing isn't bossing people around. It's not giving orders or directing traffic. Queuing is simply signaling the next ceremony beat so the entire room can move together seamlessly.
So you're providing the trigger, not the instruction.
Exactly. You're telling them when, not how.
Audio feels like the big one here, because bad audio can just completely break the emotional weight of a ceremony. The guide really stresses that you are not running the DJ's board.
Right. Definitely not.
You are giving clear ceremony triggers that they can anticipate. Like, the DJ needs to know exactly when to start the processional music, when to transition to the partner's entrance, when to hit the recessional music.
And they also need to know when to fade or hold the music so that the spoken word has actual space to breathe.
Yeah, nobody wants to yell their vows over a pop song.
Exactly. But a professional DJ already knows how to do their job, right? They just need to know exactly when you are ready for them to do it. You confirm these cues at the rehearsal with a really simple nod, maybe a hand signal, or just a specific agreed-upon word.
But honestly, and maybe this is just my instinct as a speaker, if I'm up there and the couple is having this beautiful, totally unscripted emotional moment, my instinct is to just wing it.
Oh, boy.
Like, if the energy feels exactly right in that second, why not just look at the DJ and improvise? Why not signal them to fade the track right then? Pinning it down to this rigid, pre-planned nod just feels like it kind of kills the organic vibe.
See, winging it is a DJ's absolute worst nightmare.
Really. Even if the moment is magical.
Even then, because you have to look at it from their perspective behind the soundboard. If you just improvise a cue, the DJ might be, taking a sip of water. Or worse, they might have the wrong track loaded because they thought they had 3 more minutes before you needed them.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
The fix for a smooth ceremony is alignment, not control. You have to be aligned.
So what does the train wreck actually look like if I decide to go rogue and improvise?
Well, it looks like you starting your massive, beautiful, highly emotional welcome speech while the music is still blasting at full volume.
So literally no one hears my opening words.
Exactly. Or it looks like you deciding to change the processional order on the fly without telling the audio team.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and suddenly the bride is walking down the aisle to the groomsman's entrance music. Unpredictability just destroys their workflow. When you pick a signal, a hand raise, or, a planner's countdown, and you execute it exactly the way you promised, you build trust.
Alignment over control. So you put the private cue in your script, you execute the cue, and you just let them do the heavy lifting of the audio fade.
That's the magic formula.
So what happens with photographers? Because they're weaving all over that runway you were supposedly trying to control, they're basically in your personal space the entire time.
True. But photographers require a completely different approach because experienced wedding photographers have shot hundreds, sometimes thousands, of ceremonies. They know exactly where they need to be for the kiss or the ring exchange.
So they definitely don't need my art direction.
No, they do not.
Meaning, I shouldn't stop the vows and tell the couple, okay, guys, big smile for the camera right here.
Please never do that. Doing that shatters the fourth wall of the ceremony. It completely pulls the couple out of the emotional reality of the moment and turns it into a cheap photo shoot.
Right. It makes it feel staged.
The guide notes that photographer cues are entirely positional. It is about you moving your own body, not telling them how to move theirs.
Positional cueing. Okay, like stepping aside before the kiss, for example. You just physically move yourself out of the frame so you aren't hovering awkwardly in the background of their big romantic moment.
Exactly. Or pausing briefly after the ring exchange if they specifically requested a moment to catch that shot.
So how do you set that up with them?
A really quick pre-ceremony hello is all it takes. You just introduce yourself, ask, hey, do you need me to pause anywhere specific before the rings? And then you just trust their craft.
That's it.
That's it. If they ask for a pause after a reading so they can capture a reaction photo from the crowd, you just mark that cue in your script and you honor it once. You are collaborating with their process by giving them physical space, not coordinating their shots.
I love that. Okay, so this whole system of clear boundaries, precise positional cueing, and trusting the professionals sounds like an absolute dream.
It is, when it works.
Right. But reality is incredibly messy. What happens when a couple is doing everything themselves, like the classic DIY wedding?
Oh, the DIY wedding.
Yeah, there's no venue coordinator. There's no professional planner holding a clipboard. In that vacuum, all the vendors, the family, the catering staff, they all suddenly turn and look at the person holding the microphone for answers.
And that is the absolute most dangerous scenario for an officiant. Because in the absence of a planner, human nature dictates that people will seek out the nearest person who even remotely looks like an authority figure.
Which is you, standing at the front.
But the guide is adamant here. The absence of a planner does not mean you absorb the planner's duties. It actually means you need stricter boundaries.
See, stricter boundaries when everything is falling apart around you feels so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like, if the ship is sinking, my instinct is to grab a bucket and start bailing water.
Sure, but if you grab the bucket, no one is steering the ship. The solution for DIY couples has to be established before the wedding even happens. You have to force the couple to identify one single logistics human.
Ah, the Jordan sister rule.
Yes, exactly.
The guide suggests finding someone like an honor attendant, a family point person, maybe the groom's sister, Jordan's sister, and establishing them as the final decision maker for all logistics.
And you have to put that specific name in your prep emails to the vendors, and you announce it out loud at the rehearsal so everyone hears it.
You are actively building a firewall around your role.
You have to. You will need that firewall because the psychology of a crowded, chaotic event is fascinating. People default to this sort of human group chat mentality.
Human router. It is wild how quickly people just want to offload their panic onto someone else. Like 10 minutes before the ceremony, someone will literally walk up to the officiant and say, hey, tell the DJ we're running late. Or can you ask the photographer to come inside?
Or let catering know we are starting.
Yes, they just hand you their problem because you look official.
They're experiencing decision fatigue and looking for a centralized hub. But if you allow yourself to be that hub, your cognitive load will absolutely max out before you even read the first line of the ceremony.
Which is terrifying.
It is. So you have to use the redirect. It's this really powerful, highly professional phrase that you must memorize and deliver without any hesitation.
I have the quote right here. It's so good. Quote, check with your coordinator. I need to stay with the couple. It is just brilliant in its simplicity.
It really is. Because it is polite, it is professional, and it is entirely unarguable. You are clearly stating that your priority is the emotional state of the couple. No one can argue with that priority.
Right, and if they don't have a professional coordinator, you just swap the noun. Check with Jordan's sister, I need to stay with the couple.
Exactly.
But how do you handle the weird gray area requests? Like someone runs up in a panic and says the groom's grandfather is stuck in traffic. Do you deal with that?
That is where the text introduces the 5-minute rule as a filtering mechanism.
Okay, tell me about the 5-minute rule.
The rule is strictly this. If the issue does not affect the physical reality of the ceremony within the next 5 minutes, it waits. So if the grandfather is stuck in traffic, does that affect what happens in the next 5 minutes? If the ceremony isn't starting for 20 minutes, no, it doesn't.
So it's Jordan's sister's problem.
Exactly. It's Jordan's sister's problem. Now, if the ceremony is starting in 2 minutes, yes, it affects the immediate timeline, and you might need to cue the DJ to loop the prelude music for a bit longer.
That is so practical. It just cuts through so much noise. But what about vendor portals? Because I know a lot of modern planners and officiants use these shared digital platforms to organize the timeline. It feels like having an app with all the answers in your pocket would just tempt you to become the human router again.
Yeah, technology can be a huge trap if used incorrectly here. Vendor portals are strictly pre-game tools.
Pre-game only.
Right. They are designed for asynchronous communication well before the adrenaline hits. You put the start time, the processional order, any special notes in there so the DJ and photographer can self-serve the information on, like, a Tuesday afternoon.
But the guide gives a really stern warning about this. Do not use the vendor portal as a live headset during the vows.
Oh, absolutely not.
You do not stand at the altar checking the app to see if the caterer confirmed the champagne toast timing. You close the digital portal and you open your physical day of script.
You prepare the access when everyone has the bandwidth to actually read it. On the day of, you rely on the cues you established. A soft nod is all the communication you should be doing.
Which brings up really the ultimate defense mechanism here. We are talking about maintaining these strict boundaries, remembering precise positional cues, and aggressively filtering out panic using the 5-minute rule.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is. So how does an officiant actually process all of that when their heart is pounding and 80 eyes are locked onto them?
You survive by offloading the cognitive burden. You bake those boundaries and instructions directly into the one thing you have absolute physical control over.
Your script.
Your script.
Scripting as a shield. I love this concept. Instead of just writing down the poetic words you're going to say about love and commitment, your script actually contains embedded stage directions.
Yes, you write private cues into the text. In bold, capitalized letters, right there on the page, like cue DJ processional, or wait for music to fade, or step aside for kiss.
That's genius.
You can even write behavioral reminders to yourself, like right at the top of the page. Defer to planner if asked non-ceremony question.
Because when the cue is sitting right in front of you in bold ink, you don't have to rely on your working memory. You don't have to invent a new stressful workflow under pressure. You just read the instruction and you execute it.
It eliminates decision fatigue entirely. Think about it. You are simultaneously trying to manage the emotional tone of the room, project your voice, and maintain eye contact with the couple. You literally do not have the mental RAM left to remember whether the DJ needed a hand signal or a nod.
You're maxed out.
You are. The script does the heavy lifting for you.
And this philosophy of releasing control, it doesn't just end the moment the couple kisses, right? Like, even after the recessional, when the ceremony's technically over and the music swells, your job isn't over, but it shifts dramatically.
It shifts a lot. You still have legal and professional duties to fulfill. I mean, you have to ensure the marriage license is signed correctly. You likely agreed to stay for a few specific family photos.
But once those specific duties are complete, like once the ink is dry on the license and you smiled for the camera, you must physically step out of the vendor traffic.
Yes, run away.
Right. You do not hang around the loading dock trying to help the catering team flip the room. You hand the event back to the people hired to carry it.
Because the overarching philosophy of this entire approach is creating the illusion of effortlessness.
The swan on the water, right? Gliding above, paddling furiously below.
Exactly. The officiant who masters the art of the cue looks completely relaxed. And because you stayed in your lane, the guests assume the ceremony just flowed naturally on its own.
And the vendors love you.
The vendors consider you a consummate professional because you didn't hijack their radio frequencies.
And most importantly, the couple feels that you were truly emotionally present with them during their vows rather than mentally panicking over shuttle buses. It's really just a masterclass in professional discipline. Lead your specific event, cue the beats that belong to your script, and release everything else.
That discipline is exactly how you stay calm at the front of a silent room. It is how you survive your first high-stakes performance, and honestly, it's how the authors of the guide survived their 400 without burning out.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up today, I want you to think about how this framework applies far beyond the altar. We've been discussing this strictly in the context of weddings. But think about the core mechanics here. Setting strict boundaries, writing private cues into your own notes, filtering out panic that doesn't affect the next 5 minutes, and aggressively protecting your presence for the main event.
It applies to everything.
It really does. How might applying these exact same private cues and strict role boundaries transform the way you run a high-stakes business pitch at your company? Like when the projector fails or the client asks a bizarre off-topic question, do you scramble to fix the tech and lose your momentum? Or do you cue the IT guy and stay locked into your presentation?
That's a great point.
Or, to take it even closer to home, how might treating yourself strictly as the ceremony lead and not the day of coordinator change the way you survive a chaotic family holiday dinner?
Oh, that's where the real chaos is.
Right, because the next time you find yourself standing at the front of a room, whether you're holding a microphone, a laser pointer, or a carving knife, and 40 people are staring at you, waiting for you to fix everything.
You might just want to check your script, cue the music, and kindly remind everyone to check with Jordan's sister.
Keep that firewall up.
Thanks for joining us, and remember to keep diving deep into your own sources. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Wedding Studio from You Had Me at I Do. For links, resources, episode notes, and anything Mike and Jen mentioned today, visit youhadmeatido.app/podcast. And while you're there, take a look at Studio by You Had Me at I Do, the software built to help wedding pros manage the couple, the wedding, and the business behind it all. Better weddings, better business, less chaos. We'll see you next time on Wedding Studio.